Hello and good evening. For All Mankind, Season 1, Episode 9, Bent Bird. It's over, and it has been for 6 years, but we're just getting started here in 2025 as we continue our mission to watch every episode of For All Mankind and talk all about it here on Live Long and Podcast, a live stream on YouTube, Twitch, Facebook, audio versions. We got it all. And we're going to break it all down in this episode, guys. We got a great panel here. Coming to us from the cosmos, it's Jody Simpson.
You know what? I'm tripping, Dave.
You're
I don't know what's going on. I don't know where I am.
I don't know where you are either, but we're shine a light, Jody, and we'll try to find you in the trajectory. Hopefully,
Okay.
we don't lose you to a dead battery. Coming in next, it's the man himself. It's the great Kevin Millard.
Hi, Dave.
I gotta
How's
work on
it
my
going?
intros. Okay. Coming in next, it's the traveling guy. It's the guy who moves all over across Ontario. It's Adam Woodward.
Hey guys, how you doing? It was a 6-hour drive, no, 5-hour drive back today. I'm good though. Ready to go.
Good. You're back. Well, you're not in the 905. You're in the 519, I believe. But you know, close. You're closer.
Adam, I had to walk down my stairs. All right. I don't want to hear about your 6 hours, whatever.
Okay.
Yeah. I've barely left this room all day, so just think about that. Okay. And coming in next, it's another man with a flashlight, looking, to be saved here. We missed him last week. It's Jeff Mader.
I was here last week.
Oh, 2 weeks ago. Oh, well, we missed you at baseball last night. That's what it was.
Oh, I didn't go. Oh, yes, I didn't go to baseball. That's right.
Well, we won without you.
Barely.
How'd
I
it go?
did everything I could to make us lose.
We had a 13-run lead going into the 9th, Jeff, and we
Yep.
squandered it, and we were down 2 going in, but we managed to get the 3 runs to win the game. So
I totally forgot about baseball.
Is your team named the Mallrats?
no, we're the
Oh.
Gators. So
No. No, we're not
Yeah.
green either.
we're not green, we're orange.
I'm
But yeah,
disappointed.
it was quite the. It might have had a lot to do with me and Kevin in outfield in that night.
Yeah. They kept hitting it to me. It seemed like a good strategy for them.
What team do you play? The
Sounds like it paid off.
We played the
Well, it's
Dolphins.
fine.
But this is not a softball podcast, everybody. It's
Thank God.
a podcast about For All Mankind. And we're, of course, talking about Bent Bird, the 9th episode overall. It came out on December 13th, 2019. Written by David Weddle and Bradley Thompson and directed by John Dahl. It's the penultimate episode of the season. We are one episode away from the season 1 finale. We're missing Heather Narduzzi tonight. She had some medical scare with her hemoglobin. So she had a blood test and she had to get a whole blood transfusion and everything. So
I'm not sure that's something we were supposed to say online, but it's there
But
now.
No.
I'll say she is good though. She's gonna
She
be
is
fine.
She's
Yeah.
good. I didn't think it was confidential, but okay.
Oh, okay.
It's medical stuff.
It's medical.
It's a gray area.
Okay.
Anyway, doesn't matter.
matter.
Heather's awesome anyway. It doesn't matter.
Yeah. Okay. Well, hey, she's okay, and I didn't say anything.
No little hemoglobin's gonna take her down.
Right. So she's going to bed early tonight. We're missing her, but she'll be back for the finale. And we're talking about the Bent Bird episode. Spoilers if you haven't seen this episode or season 1 For All Mankind. In this one, a crisis in space puts Apollo 24 and 25 in peril. And let's get the reactions. Jody, how was this one for you?
I liked it for the most part. The only thing I didn't like was the fact that they were ready to launch the next one right away when they literally have these guys are already like halfway going starting. So it's like that doesn't make a lot of sense that they would have a free bay and they would already be ready to launch this other one to do this rescue mission, so to speak. So it's that's the only thing that kind of bugged me a bit, but obviously it's easy to overlook. It doesn't matter.
Kevin?
It was good. Not as good as some of the others. A little boring. Until the end. Holy shit. Like,
It gets pretty intense in the end.
Yeah.
At the end, yeah.
Yes.
But
I was not expecting the ending that
I was
ended up
not expecting that at all.
happening either.
I was like, this is going to go one of two ways. He's going to be a murderer, or he's going to, drink some vodka.
You're kind of cutting in and out there, Jeff.
Yeah, you sound like you're in a tube.
I'm in a tube. I'm
You
in
are
a
in it too.
tube.
Tube.
Can you hear me now?
Yep.
Yes, much better.
Okay. I was a little worried he was going to, do some murdering.
To that Russian guy.
Right from the
end?
beginning, I'm like, oh God, this is going to.
Yeah, I didn't think that's what we were gonna go for. Like he just lost his son. So
Yeah, that's why I'm like, oh, he's hurting. He's gonna do some hurting,
yeah, see, I didn't think that was gonna happen.
which I thought was cold because didn't they send him a message saying, "Hey, sorry about
Yeah.
what happened"?
Yeah.
Yep.
I was like,
Yes. Well, before we get to Adam, Jeff, we also hear that with all the scandals going on with Ted Kennedy, he may not get the Democratic nomination for a second term. What do you think of that?
I don't. Ted Kennedy is like the worst of the Kennedys. Like, I'm not a big fan of Ted Kennedy.
Nobody's a good fan of Ted Kennedy. He should never have been there in the first place.
Yeah,
Even in this alternate reality, he should never have been there.
I'm with Adam. I'm not a big fan of Ted Kennedy. Rob and Jack love, but no, not a fan.
No. Okay. Well, Jeff's not supporting his renomination either, even though Jeff's won't be born for many decades.
No.
Okay.
I wouldn't have voted for him.
Wouldn't have voted for him. Okay, Adam. Boring, exciting. How was it?
I had anxiety in this episode, man. It was intense. It was only 48 minutes. They packed a lot into this episode, and I think somebody on this channel said to me, "This is like an enlightening, different kind of view of reality." And it's but man, it is. Look what they've done. They've killed like an astronaut candidate. They killed another astronaut this week. Gene Kranz is dead. You got gay people being prosecuted, a kid dead, and now Ed's going to start a war.
Don't forget about Aleda's father.
Elena's father arrested. Like this is just like there's nothing good.
I gotta be honest though, if they kill a dog, I'm out. Like I'm not gonna keep going.
Whose dog? Was there a
I don't
dog
know,
in this
but if they
episode?
kill a dog.
Okay, no dogs can be killed.
Somebody's got a siren near them.
Adam.
Oh, it's
It
Adam.
was it's like the dark side of the moon.
Where you are, or like with all the police cars, or is...
No, this episode.
Okay. Yeah. Okay, just checking. Right. Okay. Well, let's jump in, everybody, and relive it as I just finished watching it moments before we started this podcast. All right. Baba Wawa is here. She's giving us a news report about how Apollo
This lady
24
is so good at it.
What's that?
I said that lady is just so good at being Barbara
yeah.
Walters.
Technically, she's not playing Barbara Walters. She's playing like another character named something else Walters or something. And so
Whatever. It's Barbara Walters. We all know
she's
it.
kind of like, this not quite Barbara Walters, but close
Barbara
enough.
Walters probably has her like trademark or something, so they couldn't pay it.
Yeah, so they just changed the first name, but she has like the exact same accent and whatever.
Yeah.
Anyway, so they're sending Apollo 24 up to go save Ed, who's been stranded on the moon, as we all know, and now he's up there, mourning the death of Shane. So they show us here that they're going to go to the moon. They have to do the translunar injection, everybody. So they're going to use the Earth's orbit to sort of springboard them along
And this
the
is a real
rockets.
thing. This is
Slingshot.
what they do.
To slingshot them over
Wow.
to the moon.
Yeah, they're going to time travel.
Time travel.
Right.
Great.
Exactly. Well, go
Go back to
Well,
1985
Hello, computer.
in Alameda.
Nuclear vessels.
Well, before we get there, so we see, of course, we got Deke here on the crew of.
It's great to see Deke in space.
Yeah, well, he's trying to get to the moon, but they're not making it easy on him.
Not
here.
moving.
Ellen and Harrison Liu are here, and they're all getting ready for this this launch. There's a little bit of conversation here with Gordo at Capcom, and they're looking at their thing. They see a nice sunrise come over here, and Deke's enjoying here being in space.
This is when they're about to burn their stage 3,
Right.
so that way they can start the trajectory towards the moon. So they're just coming around now to do it. So
Precisely. So they're about to hit it, and eventually they are going to get here basically an error. Deke's all ready for that thrust to hit. Everyone's anticipating it, and then
Turns out they bought a Chrysler.
yes, and
This
nothing
is
happens.
what Ron Braun was saying about them using subpar companies to
Contractors.
supply them.
Yeah.
Yes,
They're like,
And-
we shouldn't have made these things in America.
I blame Ted Kennedy. How about you? And so yeah, so nothing happens. They have an error here. An alarm goes off, and they don't know what's happened. But
They have a bent bird.
A bent bird. We get this term "bent bird," meaning the ship is dead in the water, I guess, and unable to fly. And and will Deke ever get to the moon? I don't know.
Oh, Deke's getting to the moon. I'm hoping.
Anyway, that's our opening for the episode. So we got to figure out how we're going to help them. As we've mentioned, Weddle and Bradley from Star Trek fame. And then we go back to Earth after the titles, and we go to check in on the Baldwin home, where Karen and Tracy are coming back from a suit they bought for Shane to be buried in for the funeral. They go by his room here in the beginning, with the sign on there. It seems like the door's been closed and nobody's going in there at this stage. They are looking at, what clothes to put him in. And, this is where Karen is realizing these are the last times he'll ever buy her kid clothes. Tracy wants to be the one to drop it off at the funeral home, and Karen tries to fight with her on it, but eventually Tracy is able to convince her to let her do this for her. So they give in to that. Eventually, the doorbell rings, and we find out that Marge is here, Deke's wife, and a few of the other wives. Did we lose somebody?
Yeah, Jeff.
Okay.
He's back.
Yeah, and not Tracy. Karen's not too excited that the Marge and the wives are here, and she just wants to be left alone. She's okay with Tracy, but the group here is not making her feel at rest, and so she then immediately kind of crawls into bed, and says, you don't have to entertain them. They just want, they're here to answer the phone and help whatever. So don't worry about it. You just chill out then, and that's what you need to do. So she kind of leaves her here, and Karen's continues to be in bed. Then we catch up with Ed on the moon. He's also having a long sabbatical here. I think that bottle of scotch maybe still ringing in his ears. He's kind of forces himself to wake up. We hear like the sound of like that dot matrix printer going off. I guess they keep trying to send him orders and telemetry and all kinds of things. And I guess it's all piling up here. So, Ed's had a rough
He's got
go.
his mind set on murder.
He's gonna do some
Murder. He's he looks
Look
here
at
in
that
the
look.
mirror.
Look at that. How did you not see it coming? Look at that look in the mirror.
This is Jack Torrance and Shining all over.
Yeah, we can see like the remnants here of his one open can of food and one bottle of scotch.
There's still scotch left in it, so it couldn't have been that bad.
That's true.
You can see the line there.
Yeah, he's trying to force himself to I guess get back into the headspace of being on the mission, but this is not a good recipe.
Well, there's a bunch of things going on here. The fact that he's alone, I think, is a big factor in what's going on. Because, and also like the fact that like this should not have been allowed, like as far as like a mission, regardless of what happened to his son. Once you I'm just surprised there weren't protocols that said you can't tell him, because one, not only because he's alone, not to tell him that his son died, because if he was with someone else, at least there's a check and balance on him. But now he's just like it's Wild West. Like he's in
Yeah.
he's in the wild frontier. He can do whatever he wants.
But I think it was the whole point is that they couldn't control him finding out anyway.
From who though? The Russians? Like
Did
I
he
mean,
did he even commit a crime? Is there laws on the moon?
yeah,
Nope.
he's in international waters.
Right. So I guess he's fine. But he does, once he gets back to Earth, I think he'll have to answer to command.
Okay, number one, do you think he's going to keep the body in that pod? There's no way. He's going to throw that thing down in the crater.
You're all assuming that guy's dead.
Oh, I'm
No.
assuming he's dead.
Yeah,
Oh.
but
He
Now you're ruining
suffocated
things
him
for
to death.
I don't think
maybe he.
Well, no, he'd pass out first. But
Right. Anyway, so we catch up here with Apollo 24. What that was interesting here is that Deke and Ellen and the other guy, they've all taken off their suits and now they're back in like this the other wear because they've just been sitting there in orbit, not able to go. Right?
Can I ask a question? Are Deke and them are they going to land on the moon?
Yes.
no.
Yes.
Well, oh yeah, no, sorry, they are. Yeah.
Yes.
Oh, so they're going
Yeah,
to
they're cool.
land and then they're picking Baldwin
So
up
they're
and
gonna
then
take
going
the-
home? Or
Yeah, they're going to take the lander out. He's going to take his back up with their captain. The two of them are going to go back.
and Deke and them are going to stay on the moon.
Deke and Ellen
Yeah.
are going to stay on the moon.
Deke and Ellen are going to stay there.
And
Okay.
Ed's going to go back with the other guy. Is the plan here?
Right. Okay.
So,
All right.
but,
Just wanted to know.
they figure out that what's wrong with their ship is that their computer is screwed. Like they have a bad circuit board or something.
Again,
Yeah.
Chrysler.
Right.
Like, come on.
And it's not. It's like it's at the back of the ship. It's not an easy thing to get at. Right. And so
No, it's in their stage ring.
and they need this computer part replaced, right? So they come with this idea. Okay, we're going to send up Molly Cobb, who was meant to be the commander of Apollo 25, or is the commander of Apollo 25, to go up there and basically deliver this computer part to them. Explaining where in the rocket it is and how they're going to have to do it. And we got Weisner here that she's explaining the whole procedure to. He's kind of skeptical of the whole thing, but these astronauts and Margot convince them that it can be done. And
I think that was really good when they showed us the scale though of this thing.
Yeah.
Go back
Yeah,
one.
out there.
Like this
Yeah.
thing is giant.
right, and yeah, just like, and she's like, we need to move it from there to there, and
Well, they said, what was it? It's 19 meters from one side to the other internally.
yeah, I think
Yeah.
so.
Like when I was at the Houston or Johnson Space Center a couple of years ago, and when I actually they have a Saturn rocket there on its side. When you see this thing and you're standing next to it, it's just overwhelming how big it is.
Yeah, because you don't really get that from the the video footage, right? Because
Yeah,
it's
'cause you're
shot
usually
like
so far
it's shot
away
like
from
2.5 miles away, and
Yeah.
zoomed in, and
You don't get all that, that scale. So that's a good observation there for sure. But they, they're this idea. Yeah, I think this is what you or Jody were saying. Like, there's no way they could have got this ship ready in time to go up
No
there
way.
and deliver this computer part to them in 1974.
Well, it just took them how many weeks to get 24 ready?
Right.
Well, after the last disaster.
What was 25's mission also to go to the moon?
I think they all are supposed to be going to the moon. Yeah, but they've converted their mission into the rescue mission, right?
So they're not. So they're basically saying we're not going to the moon now. Right?
They're not going to the moon now. No.
Yeah.
Well,
now
no,
they're
this guy asks why they don't just send this one to the moon. And she says it's the old rocket. It's the V1 rocket, or the Saturn 1, not the Saturn 5. So it can't break orbit.
You mean their ship can't?
Their ship can't break orbit.
Because it was they
yeah.
talk about it being for an observatory or something, but
Right.
Oh, okay. So they must have been doing a different mission then.
I guess so, yeah. But they guess they have to convert this mission. Like, I guess the alternative is 25 could just come home with this broken computer, but then Ed is stranded further, right? So they need to
Right.
get to Ed.
Well, I think the other problem is that they can't eject the third stage thruster, which you would be required for you to be able to turn around and go back into the atmosphere. So because they can't use that, because it's not designed to be attached to it while they're coming back in, right?
Yeah.
So I think that's part of it too.
So Aleda, we catch up with Aleda here, who comes home to her apartment with her family, and we see that her father is cleaning up her room and has discovered her letter from the Kennedy School.
How old is she supposed to be?
Mm,
Like 16, 17, somewhere around there?
no, younger, probably like 14.
What?
I
I think I looked it up. She's born in 61, and this is 1974, so she's 13.
This is insane.
yeah, this doesn't make any sense. All right.
But later, well, maybe she's a prodigy.
Nonsense.
Anyway, it doesn't matter. It's also a TV show.
She doesn't look 13. She looks like 17.
I think the actor is likely older.
She's probably 21. The actress is probably like 21.
Yeah. But she's meant to be younger than she's portrayed here, and so her father actually.
Why? Again, like I'm just sorry, but like, why make her a 13-year-old child? Doesn't make any sense. Like,
I think so. She's the right age when they want the adult actor to come in.
right, because they don't want to tell her story till season 3.
Well,
For some reason.
This is all set up, Jeff, for season 3.
Right.
You know?
Okay.
Sort of. Anyway, so yeah, Aleda, her father's like, "Are you going to take this opportunity?" And she's like, "No, I don't know if I want to do it. I don't know if I want to go to this new school." And he's like, "It's about the boy, isn't it? That boy you've been looking at.
You want to suck dick, don't you?" Yeah.
Well, he doesn't say that, but he's
Kind of what he's saying.
She's like, "You don't understand how America works. People have fun here." And he's like,
People
"Oh,
like to suck some dick in America, not in Mexico, okay?"
Now, I'm not Mexican, but I do know that the Mexicans have a shitload of fun in Mexico.
Yeah.
So I don't know where the hell she's saying this from, but anyway, maybe where she came from. But
I guess coming just from a working class background, perhaps and everything else. But anyway, her father grounds her, says, "You're not going out anywhere. You're going to find out how America works." So then we go
He's
to
gonna find out how America works later on in this episode.
Yeah, he's gonna find out how it works. Yeah, he'll figure it out. Anyway, we go to
not even currently.
We go over to the Outpost bar where Danny has been called for a meeting here with Gordo. And, she assumes like he's getting loaded in the middle of the day.
I'm starting to come around on this character.
On Gordo?
No, on the other one.
Danny.
What's her name?
Danny?
Danny. Yeah.
Yeah.
I never really cared for her character. Like she almost seemed like she was just supposed to be the background for the most part. But it's like now we're getting better dialogue with her and stuff like that. I just think it's she's becoming a much better character in my opinion.
Yeah, she's going to become more and more of an authority.
And Gordo, I'm not hating as much, but he still is an asshole.
Just wait. I'm sure he's going to be an asshole sober too.
Give him a chance, guys. Give him a chance.
I've never met an asshole drunk who's not an asshole sober. So.
He's going for it. He's good. He's going ginger ale. Everybody. He's not even drinking booze. Pam confirms this. That she offered to make him a Shirley Temple, and he didn't want it. So
I almost forgot about Pam. We haven't seen her in a while.
Yeah, Pam, broken heart Pam, her and Ellen. But anyway, so Gordo is here to talk to Danny about how he's been seeing the psychiatrist, and she's very worried that he's going to get thrown out of NASA and everything else for this. But he's talks about not being able to lie, and basically he's come to this epiphany that he wants to tell NASA and the world everything that happened on the moon, that he lost it, that Danny broke her arm on purpose to kind of get him home and whatever, that because he's been celebrated as this hero and he hates it, and that
she's like, "Hold up, Chuck, don't you be doing that."
Right, but she's like, if you do that, if you tell the truth about what I did and what happened, we're both getting kicked out of NASA forever.
Yeah.
So, and I've worked too hard for this, so you can't do that. You just can't. Basically, as much as you want to, you have a guilty conscience or whatever it is, but that would be a selfish move for you and not for me or anybody else. So she just basically says that, and she kind of gets up and walks out, and leaves Gordo to sort of contemplate that. But I think he kind of accepts it by the end of it that I don't want to cause harm to her. So that's the sort of end of that scene. We then go to the Baldwin house once again, catching up here with Karen, who is still sleeping. Marge comes in to check on her. She brought her cornbread. You got to eat something, Karen. Eat the cornbread.
Okay, I'm telling you right now, if I'm in that kind of a mood, there's no way cornbread's gonna help.
Yeah, probably not.
It's not that good.
There's some cornbread's better than other cornbread.
It's still
No.
cornbread.
It's like it could be like corn cake.
Cornbread.
No? Okay. All right. Well, Karen, she takes 2 bites, and Marge tries to get her up, but Karen just kind of rolls over and goes back. You know, she's not too interested in going out there and seeing anybody else right now. We then check up here with Ed, who is on his rover heading out towards the Shackleton crater. I'm sure we've seen this before. I just never noticed that these wheels are just
Yeah, I
hollow.
never noticed that before now either.
So these wheels, though, I think weren't on the original rovers that we saw earlier in the season. So I think this is like the upgraded ones, because these are a lot like those Aeroflow tires that they have now, which are like basically just pillars, tons of pillars.
Makes sense. You just make a steel frame, and I guess there's no atmospheric pressure there. So,
But I don't think you're looking for that comfortable of a ride on the moon anyway. So it's it's probably
Yeah.
Oh,
better
nice.
to go like
I
this.
need some tires. Send some tires up.
Yeah, like Mars is like ripping apart the tracks of like these rovers and stuff too. So it's like, it makes sense for them to go this route. So I think that was more of a touch, but I think you're right. I thought the exact same thing, guys, when I saw that. I was like, I don't remember seeing those before, so I'm guessing that's like an upgrade that they have.
Mm-hmm. Ed is stacking some rocks out here. I guess this is not the part where he goes to Shackleton. I'm mistaken. This is the part where he goes out to this section here. He's piling up these rocks. I kind of just thought it was interesting how easily he's moving the rocks because of the gravity, and they're kind of just like styrofoam things. And then he places there, and then we kind of see this pan up, and we realize it's the same spot that he had written Shane's name into the lunar dust. He told Shane about that earlier, how it was going to be there.
But he said he didn't do it, so now he has done it.
I think, yeah.
That's the impression I got anyway.
No, because you thought when he didn't do it because he said it was bullshit, because Molly said you did a really nice thing for your kid, right? Writing the name in the dust and everything else. But he's like, no,
okay.
I'm not a good dad, blah blah blah. But it wasn't that he was saying that he didn't write it. I think he always did,
Okay.
yeah. Anyway, so we then go to the Stevens household, where we see Danny Stevens, the son of Gordo and Tracy, and the friend of Shane Baldwin, playing with this old toy car with the number 15 written on it, and Danny tells us that this was Shane's toy that he had left here at their house, and Tracy tries to talk to Danny about it. And of course, this is right before Christmas, as all these events and these episodes leading up to it. But Trace, Danny's he's talking a bit, but he's definitely struggling. Is there anything else from this? It was pretty straightforward, I thought.
Is this where they talk about going to Galveston, just the two of them?
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
This is also where the fact. So Tracy is also leaving for her mission way ahead of schedule, but I guess she'll be back in time maybe for Christmas, because it's kind of just going on a milk run basically into the upper atmosphere, but not a prolonged mission. So she says she'll be back with Danny. We don't see Danny's his brother here in this scene, but she gives Danny a hug, and that's the end of that. Then we catch up here with Mr. FBI man back at NASA, we see he's got the tape recorder, we see he's got the microphone, and we don't know who he's talking to right at the beginning, but then it's revealed to be Aleda's father, whose name I don't know, Octavio. And he says, "Hey, you look really good for a guy who died 6 years ago, who got hit by a semi." He's like, "What do you mean?" He's like, "You bought your social security number. It comes from a dead person." And where'd you get it? This questioning kind of, turns pretty aggressive pretty fast. As Mr. Donahue says, if he knew a man who was selling secrets to NASA secrets out there, and they're kind of accusing Aleda's father here of being involved with that he'd taken photos and given them away. They say, "Do you know this man?" And he goes, "No." Do you know this guy? No. Are you sure? You don't want to answer this as well. But Octavio genuinely doesn't know anything about what he's talking about. But Jeff, there was this whole thing here about the Soviet embassy in Mexico City. They mentioned Lee Harvey Oswald.
Right.
They talk about how the Soviets used sometimes contacts in Mexico for spying operations.
Yeah.
I thought of you when this came up. Do you have any comments?
I'm not a communist. I'm a Marxist-Leninist. What the hell is the difference?
Is that you doing Lee Harvey Oswald from JFK?
Yeah.
All right.
It might need a little work.
Anyway, and they say it to the microphone. He's really grilling Octavio here, but Octavio's like, I don't know anything about this. I just come here. I clean offices. I'm not selling secrets. And he's like, well, why are you stealing all these pictures of the different spacecrafts and the different operations and things going on here? He's like, well, it's just stuff being thrown away.
When episodes, I don't know how many episodes ago, we saw him picking something out of the garbage to show Alita, and I was like, this is not going to be good. Like,
right.
First of all, NASA should have a shred-it bin in their offices somewhere.
Yeah.
It was the 60s. They didn't know any better.
Early 70s.
This is the
Oh,
70s.
no, it's 70s now. Yeah, 73.
Right. But he's like, I took those. It's not stealing. He says, I'm not stealing. I was just taking them because I thought they were.
Well, you technically are. Because
He
even if
doesn't
it's in a
have a
garbage
good.
can,
This
it's
is actually
still
one
inside.
time where I kind of agree with the FBI guy. Like, there's no good reason for him to have these in his locker.
to give them to his daughter who loves space.
It doesn't look so good.
No,
And
it
I'm
does
pretty
not.
sure, like, if he just went to like one of the directors or something, they would find something that they could print out on a plotter or something for her. Or like,
Yeah.
you know,
Well,
like,
I just think the fact that they figured out he has this bogus social security number probably was enough for them to probably move on him here. But
Well, yeah, they were always going to move on him. They were just trying to get some information out of him first.
yeah.
when
So
did this episode air? Was this like 90 or
the end
sorry,
of 2019?
19? Okay,
Yeah.
makes sense.
Yeah.
Anyway,
So they take him away, and we don't know what's
Trump's
going to happen.
first
to him.
term.
Yeah, right near the end of but the election had happened and all that, right? Or was that not till 2020? I can't remember now.
It's 2020.
I was 2020. Yeah, he was right. It was past the pandemic. Anyway, we'll find out what happens to Octavio later. I guess he's going somewhere else, and Aleda doesn't know. We don't see Aleda doesn't get any reaction here in this episode, so I guess we'll have to catch up in the finale with her. Back at the Baldwin home, Karen's still in bed. Baba Wawa on the TV talking about Apollo 25 going up and the rescue mission, and she's kind of getting filled in on all these details that she's missed about what's happening with the spaceships and getting Ed home. And she kind of looks in the mirror here and doesn't like what she sees, I guess.
she has all these NASA women in her house, but yet she doesn't know what's going on right now. Like, that doesn't make a lot of sense either.
I guess she's not talking to them at all. She takes some pills here. I'm not sure what kind of pills they were, but then we see
Probably
that
antidepressants.
probably. Then she was like getting ready here. Like she decides, okay, I'm going to go out and face them. She gets dressed and she looks out here at the her living room and kitchen filled with like the different NASA wives, and she's about to kind of come out and say hello, but she looks at them and stares at them for a moment, which she'll recount to Wayne later on here, and say, I don't know who
She's
they
just an
are.
introvert.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know if I know them. How do I know them? Are they who they really appear to be? Which Wayne will say later to us. It sounds like you're trying to ask who you are more than who they are, right? So she decides not to engage with them. She closes the door here, and then she starts going down the hall. But then she sees the door to her son's room open. At first, I think she thinks she's hallucinating. She sees these legs then emerge, like a young boy's legs come from the room, and
Now she's like, "What were in those pills?"
I was worried she was going to walk up and smack him.
Right, but it's Danny, it's not Shane. And she goes, "Danny, what are you doing here?" Jeez. She closes the door, and Danny talks about how he wanted to bring back the toy, to return it to with the belongings here. And Karen, she's cross with him initially, but she kind of calms down because she's realizing that they were friends, and then he then confesses to the fact that or I don't know if he's making this up or if it's true, but that all the shenanigans that him and Shane had got into at school with the cherry bombs or whatever they were doing, all the mischief they were doing, that was all Danny's idea, and he let Shane take the heat for it. Shane, it was Shane's ideas and blah blah blah. But I don't know. Do you think Danny's telling the truth about this, or do you think he's doing this to sort of help Shane's memory?
Probably the former.
You think it's true?
I think it's true.
Yeah. I think it's true.
He's probably feeling a lot of guilt. His best friend is gone.
Oh, he's dealing with the guilt. Yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
Well, no, I think he did it. I think he's the one who instigated.
Well,
he's Gordo's kid.
Yeah, he is
Come
Gordo's kid. So it's probably true. So then after this, Karen decides she has to leave the house. She goes past Marge and all the wives here, doesn't really say anything to them, and they kind of want to stop her, but Marge says no. Give her a chance to get some fresh air. What she is. And
turns out she wasn't getting fresh air.
She was not.
She heads over of air.
She heads over to Wayne Cobb's. Wayne Cobb is painting, I guess. He hears all these bangs on his door, and he opens the door, and it's Karen. Karen's here, and he goes, "What are you doing here, Karen?" She goes, "I don't know." "Well, I'm here to get the fresh air, and get the weed, I guess." And
so, who has a two-handed joint clip, like a roach clip? Like who has that? That doesn't
Wayne
make
Cobb.
sense.
That's who has it.
I have never in my life seen a two-handed thing.
Breaks it out for rookies.
Are you afraid you're gonna drop it? Like, what? What's going on here?
I guess so. They don't want to burn their fingers. Anyway, he's getting her to
and
hold
that's
it.
drug talk with Jody. All right,
exactly. And then there's kind of a little transition, and we see, she's feeling it. In the next scene, and being able to relax a bit here. They start talking about how she met Ed, when she was young, and how Ed was the one with the bottle rockets and mischief and love at first sight, and how her Irish immigrant parents found Ed so different and so American and so whatever. And getting into that. They talk about Wayne's backstory a bit, that he was, his father was this big surgeon at the cancer hospital, and that, he was in medical school, and that, it was his father's dream for him to follow him. But, what did he do? LSD before?
Instead, he decided to do acid and then go to class.
Yeah. He did.
By the way, kids, don't do that.
Yeah, he said I was peaking as I was hitting my oral exams or something, and so he ends up getting expelled from medical school, and then his father disowns him, and the whole thing here, and so but he's like, then I was free, then I could do whatever I wanted, and it was
and you can tell Karen is very stoned here because she's
totally okay with this.
She finds it hilarious, not scandalous.
Right. Yes, sober Karen would not approve.
Her guard has been dropped.
Yeah. Karen's going through a bit of a transformation at this time too, and but I thought this was I thought a really nice scene between Karen and Wayne.
Who is more bitterly alone, Karen or Ed?
I'd say Ed.
I'd say Karen.
Ed is right now, at least, with Ed being truly alone.
See, the thing is, Ed's always been bitterly alone. That's the difference.
Mm-hmm. Well, I guess so. They got an interesting marriage. I don't know what to tell
Karen's at least got, what's his name? Mustache guy, the painter?
Wayne.
Wayne,
Karen's got Wayne.
and Molly's got Wayne too. So,
As far as I can tell, a lot of them have Wayne.
Molly was going to die in this episode. She was happy to die.
She was like, let me go. But we'll get into that as we head into this final sequence where now Apollo 25 has met up with Apollo 24 and they're trying to fix the computer and the rocket and all that. And they have this tether.
I do have science problems with this. However, it is still a fantastic scene.
Right from the beginning here, you have some issues, or as they go?
Oh no! Once the booster fires.
Okay, let's get into that. So, it's pretty calm here in the beginning. It was a little
This is well
hard.
shot.
It was a little hard to track who was who for me because they're wearing the spacesuits and they have the visors pulled down, and but
they even said that in the dialogue. It's like I don't even
Molly
know which one
was
is it.
Molly was the one moving with all the attitude.
Yeah.
right. Right. Well, Molly has like the red stripe, but as the mission commander and whatever. But they're talking to the mission control and all that and everything else. It's all laughs and jokes, and it's all going fine. Then we have this thing where we catch up with Ed back on the moon. He heads up at Shackleton Crater and he notices something. What the hell is that? You notice some green lights. The lights on like the elevator thing that go down into the crater are not what they should be.
So NASA develops a $30 million space elevator crane thing, but doesn't put a $3 fucking key lock on it. That is
Yes.
amazing.
That would be
That
good.
that
Yeah.
is perfect. That's absolutely perfect.
maybe like a passcode would be.
There's
good.
got to be something to stop the use of this thing. Like,
Right.
just
Or you,
Why
yeah,
would they
well,
need it? When they probably built it, they go, nobody's going to be up there except us.
And the Russians.
they were in a space race with the Russians. They already knew that they could be up there.
Yeah, like I don't know. It's a little strange that they hadn't considered this, but
I'm
I
surprised
guess-
this thing doesn't have a laser on it at this
Mhm.
point.
A laser.
These are
Laser.
Ed then clocks. He kind of goes around this corner here, and he notices the Soviet rover is here,
Which
so-
looks absolutely badass and has, count 'em, 2 satellite dishes on them. Not some
Yeah.
measly one bullshit.
in 6
Should have
wheels.
just hopped in it and started doing donuts.
You know,
I
you
would've-
know,
Oh,
Let's
look
go
at that thing.
It's built
It's like a tank. It's amazing.
It's a
Ed
tank,
should have
yeah.
taken that one back and left his.
Oh my god,
Yeah.
I'm wrong. There's like 4 satellites on that thing.
Yeah, it's pretty,
Unbelievable.
pretty going. Yeah. He goes, "Who's here? Somebody's in my front driveway. and I
Oh,
don't
wait,
like it."
they had a key lock on it.
They had a key
Yeah.
lock. They
Yeah,
thought about
that's
that.
what should have happened. He should have went over there like, I'm gonna drive this thing right into the fucking crater. And he goes to do it, and then he's like, I can't start the fucking thing, the key.
We then see the cosmonaut himself. He comes up the elevator. His spacesuit is got like this reddish tinge, almost a pink.
Well, that's how
look
you
to it.
know he's a Soviet.
And his visor is silver instead of gold.
Yeah, well.
so-
They're second place, Dave.
but they got to the moon first, so shouldn't they be the
No,
gold?
but America #1.
Right.
That's why they have the gold ones.
True. And got this bit of this standoff here between the
I
two.
do love these standoff scenes, though. They did a great job on them.
They can't talk to each other because they're not on the same frequency.
Right.
And so there's just kind of like this, and because the visors are down, there's no eye contact either. There's no,
Yeah.
there's
This
nothing.
is just pure dominance. That's all this is. It's just who's going to flinch first, basically.
Right. You
And
know.
Ed ends up being the one that moves out of the way, I believe.
He does. He backs down here because, he's kind of blocking the path back to this thing. And he's kind of, Ed's body language is like, what the hell are you doing here? And the Soviet guy, he's got his little hammer here. He could use as a weapon. if he
Oh, I
has
thought
to.
that was a Cybertruck.
Nope.
I half
Oh, okay.
expected Ed to pull out the sickle and then the hammer on the sickle. Right?
Can't hear you again.
What I said, I kind
There
of
you go.
half expected Ed to pull out the sickle, so you get the hammer and the sickle.
Right,
Oh,
like
that
they're
would be
making the
amazing.
flag up there or something.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
I would imagine that space agencies wouldn't allow you to bring a sickle up into space.
I know. It's just where my brain went.
It seems like a bad idea.
You
Like
know,
the
reaping
hammer, I can
fields.
understand, but yeah,
Uh,
the sickle seems like a problem.
I thought then the Russian guy would have went or something, you know.
He's like, that's our logo.
Ah.
It'd be like if you drew a maple leaf in the moon dust for us. We'd be like, oh my God, it's the maple leaf.
We are brothers.
Yeah, we're brothers. Hug.
And we even see like the little bit, like the Soviet guy's trembling a little bit as he's holding that.
Yeah,
that-
you can see him shaking a bit.
yeah. You know, so really interesting
It's a cool standoff scene, man. I
cool
thought
stand
it was
scene.
really
And
neat.
eventually Ed moves to the side and lets him pass.
Yeah.
You know, but it's kind of like, are these two going to fight? And what would that fight be like if these two fighting, you know, in space?
That would be the
It would-
stupidest thing in the world to do. They would
It's
float
way-
off the
yeah.
surface of the moon into nothingness.
Is it that easy to like jump off the moon? Like, you know, like
It's
to get-
not that easy, but you can do
like,
it.
At what point?
No, I don't think so. It's going to pull you back down. It's gravity.
There is gravity, but it's 1/6.
Gravity.
Gravity. But you got, yeah, I don't know. I know there's certainly, you could definitely get dislodged from the moon, but
I know that Ben Affleck can make a huge rover thing jump across a huge crater on the moon.
That was an asteroid, not a.
Oh, that was an asteroid.
that was an
excuse me.
asteroid, lower gravity.
You know what? Obviously, it must have been real. So yeah, okay.
Yeah.
All right, then we get back. So we're done with all the boring stuff, if you want to call it that, because now it's pretty much action from here on.
This
Apollo
is
20.
cool.
Apollo 24 still, you know, doing the final touches again. The computer installed here for 25 into 24. Everything's in. We see the tether here between the ships in this wide shot. And I don't know when they realize everything's gone wrong here. It's coming up in a moment here.
So they're all celebrating and patting each other on the back right now, and
Yeah, and you can see where they are in what like where they're going to end up. Like where Molly's gonna end up, and like, you know, compared to here, on the dark side of the Earth at this point, it's kind of incredible. Anyway, so they're getting ready here, and then this is where Ellen notices that the like ignition startup is happening, like, you know, without being asked to. The computer's just going, and she reports this back to Mission Control, saying like, that's not supposed to be doing that. And they're like, this is not good, right? And Margot tries to order like, get away, sever the tether, do something. But before they know it, Apollo 24's rockets fire, they blast off. 25, which is tethered to the ship, is being pulled alongside of it.
and this was crazy. Like, did you guys even comprehend that Harrison got cooked?
Yeah,
Oh,
I didn't
yeah.
know. I didn't know who it was. I didn't know which astronaut it was because I couldn't tell. But it's this guy with the camera here. This is where it happens, where he's holding onto the side of the ship. He's trying to hold on, but eventually he loses his grip and he gets like sucked, basically in. And then he gets like sucked back here, and then he gets burned incinerated by the rocket. And Molly also tries to hold on for a bit here. It's just like them trying to hold on to the side of the ship as it's going, like, I don't know how fast, but incredibly fast.
Yeah, I don't feel like that tether would have held on.
Maybe not. I don't think so.
I feel like that would have snapped.
Yeah. I think, is this where she lets go? Because Molly's, you know, because they need to disconnect 25.
This tether, like holding the module.
Yeah.
Yeah, probably right.
The module is quite a bit heavier than an astronaut. You know, so I don't, but there's no gravity. I don't know how it works.
Well,
anyways,
weight isn't really relative here, but
they decide they have to
thrust would
cut.
be.
They have to cut
Honest thrust.
The thrust would be the bigger issue here.
They have to cut this tether, but in the process, it's going to like leave Molly sort of ajar or like, you know, loose. But they have to do it. They don't have a choice, so they do it. And Molly no longer has the tether. She's only able to hold on for maybe another instant before she gets pulled off here.
And I
So-
don't feel like she would have been able to remove that tether going that speed with her hand.
With all the tension, right?
Yeah.
On it. Yeah, maybe not. movie magic, everybody. So, so Molly is now adrift, and they're trying to figure out what to do. Like, can we launch some kind of a rescue mission or something? 24's gone. They have no comms with 24. It just blasted out.
Well, and it's also not on the right trajectory either. So
Yeah, we'll find out. Yeah, they don't know. They don't even know what trajectory it's on at this point. Like, they've completely lost touch with 24. Now they're just kind of dealing with 25, and can they save Molly? You know, is kind of like the next immediate issue. So they kind of split into two teams here, and they start working on both things at once. But yeah, it's kind of a whole thing because 24 is gone, and they're gonna have to deal with that in a minute. So back to 25, and you know, now Tracy has control of the ship again. They're looking around, trying to figure out what to do, trying to get the trajectory, and trying to see if they can come up with some kind of a rescue plan, because there's no procedure for this. They don't know. They have no direct, like, you know, they like astronaut gets blown off ship. How do you find her in orbit of Earth? You know,
And limited fuel. Like
limited fuel, and even, you know, if you like, you will see even once they kind of know where she is, it's like grabbing her is not necessarily the easiest thing because you can't drive.
You'd think after a few times they would start bringing some extra gas. I know it's difficult to get it into orbit, but you make a point. If you're always running out of gas, you got to find a way to bring some more.
Yeah, I don't know. It's heavy, I guess. So
this is why they stopped the program in real life, Kevin. They couldn't figure that out.
the bigger issue I have is the fact that the LEM doesn't have the same kind of thrust capabilities of the massive Stage 3 rocket. And on top of that, when Molly comes off of the rocket that has the thrust, she would be going the same speed. So therefore, even if she could slow down, which she can't really do anyway, but even if she could slow down, that she's gone. There's no way they can go get her. So
remember, did you guys see that movie Gravity with George Clooney and Sandra Bullock?
Yes.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
I think they did it really well with that one when she was just spinning over and over again and no way to stop, right?
Spinning's different, but this person was attached to the rocket that had the massive amount of
it's
thrust.
the same concept though. It's like you have no.
It is the same. Yeah, you have no way to control this at all.
No resistance at all, so you're going to do it forever.
Yeah, she's gone. She's like, she'll go past the moon. She'll be way long dead.
No, she's dead.
But the ship has like that sustained thrust, and she doesn't have any of that anymore. So she would just have the momentum she already had.
Yeah, but that momentum was already at maximum speed for the thrusters.
Yeah, she would be launched. Like it
She would be
wouldn't.
gone.
Like, there's nothing to slow her down.
But if she's still in orbit, the Earth's gravity would slow her down.
Oh, that's true. Yeah, I
she
never
is
thought of that.
a very small mass being acted on by a very large mass.
But are they in orbit?
So the Earth's gravity would.
They're
slow
in
her
Good
orbit.
down.
point, though.
They're
If they are in full orbit, then yeah, I get where Kevin's coming from. They say, well, even if she came off of that thrust though in Earth orbit though, there's no bloody way they're.
Well, she would still be going very fast in orbit though, right? Like,
well, eventually the gravity would kick
I would
in,
think
so
so. Yeah.
yeah. Even if she has an orbit, yeah. Anyway, so
still going faster than those little tiny LEM
Yeah,
rockets.
for sure. For sure.
They are able to see Molly through their window with the flashlight, and like this political guy here, Kreishner, he says to Margot, like, why can't we go get her? We know where she is. And he's like, flying a spaceship's not like flying a car, you know, you have to like plan it out. And so they're still trying to figure out where the trajectory is and everything else, and where they think Molly would be going, what direction she would be going, but it's only a guess based on where she was. Margot's eating Tootsie Rolls throughout this whole thing as her coping mechanism. Well, she kind of starts eating them and then drops them. But eventually it's coming down to this idea, like, can we save Molly without burning up too much fuel? And eventually she gives this order to Gordo, like, Gordo, we're aborting. We're not going to try to save Molly. It's too risky, right? And he's like, no way. I'm not doing it.
Which she is completely in the right there. There is no
they
way
should all
they
be
would
fired after this.
Everyone would
I
be
figure
gone.
like she's going to be fired because she lost control of her flight crew.
Yeah.
Well, the entire room is like in shock that she would give this order. We're not going to rescue Molly. We're going to let her die.
But in reality, do they have enough? They essentially now have 2 more astronauts stranded, and they've just replaced the astronauts who are stranded. That's all they've done. Because if she does go, if they go for them, if they go for her, they won't have enough. They don't have nearly enough fuel to get back into orbit. Because they also have to get into the atmosphere. That takes a little bit. You know, it's not just, you don't just fall to Earth. It doesn't work that way.
Well, astronauts' code is no man or woman left behind. We're not answering orders here. And Margot gives an order to Tracy, like, abort. And Tracy says, nope, I'm in command now. I don't have to do anything.
Like, realistically, Tracy can obviously override that, but it's, you know, it's still like Gordo. He would be canned. He would be shit canned in a heartbeat for that. So
yeah.
you have to do what the flight director tells you, regardless of if you enjoy it or not.
Don't tell these astronauts what to do. No bookworm is going to stop them from saving their fellow man. So they're going for it. Anyway, so she says fine. Eventually, she kind of gives in, and then they get to work on how they're going to try to get through this. But you know, after she gets a lot of death stares from her team before finally giving in. So they're doing it. Let's find a. It's like a needle in a haystack kind of an idea here, you know? Like you're trying to find this one small woman in a spacesuit who's got a flashlight.
So here's the other problem I have. You don't know what path she's taking. So keeping your eye on that, it's not a fixed area. So keeping your eye on that, you're going to constantly be off course because she might be reflecting in a different way, right? So you might be seeing the side of the flashlight instead, you know?
True, but I think they're also trying to use it in conjunction with like the trajectory they think she's on, where they project she would be at this point.
Yeah,
but
I guess.
We also see that the maneuvering thrusters of the ship are damaged after, like, there must have been when 24 blasted off. There must have been a bit of a collision here, so it's making the piloting of the ship a little bit harder. And Tracy just keeps looking through this window, looking for that light. Gordo's kind of giving her tips, you know. He wasn't shit canned, guys. He's
Gordo is just trying to get his wife killed. That's all he's trying to do.
Well, he manages to save her. He's like,
problem solved.
Yeah, there's some good banter there between them, where he's like, she's like, I got to be crazy to try this. He's like, you married me, you know, like what was crazier than that? But see, Molly still.
I did like this Molly scene though, where she's like, "Oh, the sunrise is amazing."
Yeah,
like,
right.
Yeah, would be.
and Molly keeps telling them, like, "Don't worry about me, leave me behind. You can't, you know." And then they cross into the night section as they're going into the side of the Earth that's not facing the sun, and Molly's flashlight also dies at this point, so they can't see her.
Like, seriously, NASA, she's been out there for 20 minutes. You don't have 20 minutes of battery on your fucking flashlights?
Yeah.
And no gas in your vehicles? What are you doing?
It comes back to this whole thing. Remember, I'm sure you guys all heard of this. NASA spends, $1 billion to make a pen that writes in space.
Yeah.
And the Russians give them a pencil.
Yeah.
Right. That's a good way to put it. Anyway, so through some,
I have one of those space pens.
They figure out they can turn on like the headlights basically of this spaceship, like the rendezvous lights, and that they can sort of use that to try to find Molly.
This is the beginning of the running lights on the Enterprise. Those. Yeah,
that's why you need them. And guess who they find? It's Molly. She's okay. She's just floating there. What took you so long? So it's all happy. They found her. It's celebration all around.
I would have liked to see how they got her back into the ship, though.
Yeah, I would have liked to.
Can't really decompress the LEM.
No, but they're all. Well, yeah.
Well, how'd she get out?
But how'd she get out? There has to be a second.
Oh, that's true.
Yeah, has to be a module there.
Yeah.
And so
Makes
then,
sense.
but there's also like Margot is like, okay, great, we saved Molly, but I also just gave this order to abandon Molly, so I guess I maybe have to reconcile some of those feelings.
No,
now.
it was still the right call.
Well,
and now they're fucked because they can't get back because they don't have enough gas because they don't listen to Kevin.
They don't listen to Kevin. They listen to Margot. They just go off here. And meanwhile, Buzz Aldrin and the rest here. They're trying to figure out what to do with the trajectory of
I keep
24.
forgetting that's Buzz Aldrin.
Yeah, it's Buzz Aldrin.
His face isn't square enough. That's not Buzz Aldrin.
I don't recognize him not punching somebody in the face.
Yeah.
Right.
Why isn't he punching anybody?
Well, yeah, and they say basically the 24 is still on sort of on the trajectory for the moon, but they're actually going to miss by 1,000 miles. And
Whoa,
so-
whoa. Look at
That's
that
not even
engineer.
close to the right trajectory then.
well, general direction. They're heading in the same general direction.
Dave, go back too, please. That engineer has a lot of pens in his pocket. Wow.
Yeah, he also has a pocket protector.
I
He's
think
bit of
there's a
nerd.
pencil there.
Well, you'd need a pocket protector with that many pens.
Oh my God, I think
An
he has a
explosion
pencil.
is inevitable.
He's got a pencil, guys, in there. The last one's a pencil, and that means he's Russian. That's what that
Oh,
means.
watch out. The FBI will show up.
Is that Nedry? Is that the same guy?
Yeah, it's the same guy. Yeah.
Okay.
Anyway, so you see that this is Apollo 24 is supposed to go to the moon and then eventually go into moon orbit, and now this is kind of showing how far they're off now. On that.
Yeah,
trip.
they're gonna miss the moon, and they're not coming back.
So they have no thrusters. They just have one in the back.
Well, they got one in the back that would probably have run out at this point.
And they have no way to talk to them, and now it's just Deke and Ellen. Like they're Harrison's dead, right? So they got it, and they can't talk to them. There's no comms here, so that is sort of where we leave it here. I can't remember what was the song that was playing here near the end. It was a
I
familiar
don't
one.
remember.
Oh, it was My Way. It was My Way by.
Oh,
Yeah. Okay.
Right.
Whenever you hear "My Way," things aren't going good.
yeah.
Right. As Ed's having some soup or whatever, but there's a knock at the door, and he's like, "What? Is someone here to knock on the door?"
I like that he said it though. I wonder who that is.
I wonder who it could be.
Who could it be?
And it's the
He's
Soviet.
definitely
president.
having a bit of a Gordo moment, I think. Like he's losing it.
You
Yeah.
have a moment to talk about your car's extended warranty?
Space madness has got into Ed.
Space madness.
The Russians should have brought a bottle of vodka or something, and then he would have been okay.
Maybe. Yeah. So it's like, oh, okay, you want to come in? Okay. And Ed's a little too cooperative here. He's like, sure thing. And then he closes the airlock here. He decompresses.
Well, no, that's what he says. Doesn't he say like, "Oh, you ran out of oxygen, didn't you?" Like, doesn't he say
Yeah.
that?
Yeah.
So like he's kind of like, I don't have to help you, but I'm gonna. Like he kind of does one of those,
Yeah.
and you're like, "This isn't good." That's what I thought, right? When he said that, I was like, "This is not
This is not, I don't think he's gonna come in, have tea,
Yeah.
and whatever. No, probably not. The cosmonaut though he accepts the seeming invitation here from Ed.
I don't want Ed to be a murderer. I
Well,
If he's not a murderer, he's an attempted murderer now.
he's in a war, guys. He's in a Cold War.
there's a difference between killing and just being in a Cold War.
Well, he may have only made him pass out. We'll find out. So the guy gets off his suit. He's ready to come in. He's like, "I'm good, man. Let's come in and have a drink and whatever." And he's like, "Oh yeah, we'll see." And then he changes the lights, and it's going red again. And this guy rushes to get his suit back on, but it's can't get it on that fast. And the oxygen comes out of the room. Maybe he's dead. Maybe he's not. I don't know. Maybe I do know. And
He should be. they take all the air out.
They
Should
seem
be
to take
dead.
all the air. Well, we can go.
You need about 20% oxygen to run here. So
Right. Like inside that room mimics the outside, right?
Yeah.
He would be dead.
I don't know. Sure, but he doesn't die, guys. So it's
Aw,
not a
you ruined
murder.
it for me.
No, I can't take it. You guys are antagonizing it. Ed's a murderer. He's not a murderer. He just made him pass out.
No,
Well, he
he's
should
an
be.
attempted murderer.
is
He
it-
tried to kill him.
he nearly
There's a
murders. He
crime.
nearly murders, but doesn't. And
So from now on, Ed Baldwin, criminal.
there's no laws in space, guys. We've
Yeah.
already established this. He can murder anybody. It's not murder. It's not even a crime, technically. So it's all good.
It's
How
war.
It's war. What is it good for? Absolutely nothing. Say it again. How about some fun facts? You got some fun facts for us, Adam? about
So
this episode?
I don't, but what I do have is thought it'd be kind of fun to go look at timelines.
Okay.
And and when all these guys were born. So
Hold on. Fun timelines with Adam. All right, there we go.
With Adam.
thank you. In considering I just turned 54 last week, when I look at timelines and because when you look at these and you think, oh my God, they're really old, but now I feel like I'm really old. Anyway, Ed Baldwin was born in 1931. 31. So 10 years before.
Same year as Shatner.
Well, yep. Karen was born in 32. Gordo in 36. And Molly Cobb is born in 37. Then you get to the other ones in the 40s. Margot in the 41. Ellen Waverly in 43. And Daniel in 44. So then it starts going on, real timelines. Sputnik was launched in 1957. So this is the first time the Russians beat the Americans into space, right? Number one.
Mm-hmm.
NASA wasn't even established until 1958. Then you get into 1962, where Kennedy makes the big speech about putting an American astronaut on the moon within the decade. And then we have the 1966, where the sort of path split, right, between the show and real life.
Right.
So, and then just to give you an age on Alita, she was born in 1962.
Oh, okay, 62. So she's even younger, Jeff. She's only 12.
That's insane.
Another thing they beat, the Russians beat us, the Soviets beat us at, or Americans at, was the first spacewalk. They were the first to go in March 1965, and the Americans went in June that year.
The Russians did everything first except get to the moon, which the Russians have never done.
Yeah, because once they weren't first, they didn't care anymore. Like
They
gave
just
up?
stopped. They just said, you know what? It's been done. We don't need to do it.
Yeah, they were like, wait, turns out the moon is useless.
Yeah. You know what? You did it. You did it like 10 times, America. We don't need to do it.
Yeah, there's nothing there anyway, so why bother?
Right.
But I'm hearing stuff now that there is stuff on the moon, but they didn't know that back then. But but there are actually minerals and.
They were like, we don't even need to investigate.
Yeah, it's okay. We got lots of minerals on the Earth. We don't need to get them.
But like
from
things
the moon.
that are rare, like plutonium and stuff like that, and
Yeah. Also, interestingly enough, that you can see Ed's military background because he continues to call the Soviet guy Ivan, which is the code word for Russian guys.
Yeah.
Oh, I thought it was just a nickname.
I thought that was his name. I thought he knew his name.
Every Russian's an Ivan.
Every Russian's an Ivan.
Is every American
Charlie.
a John to the Russians?
G.I. Joe.
What do they call
Joe?
like the Chinese or the Koreans?
I don't know what they call the Chinese, but I mean, Charlie was the Viet Cong.
Charlie.
Gary was the Germans.
Gary.
Jerry.
Jerry.
Okay.
So there's always a name.
There's always some name, and the Ivans are here.
It dehumanizes the people. That's the whole point.
Yeah.
Turns them into just characters instead of people when you fight them.
Yeah. Anyway, I think I'll leave it.
Flashbacks with Jody.
Thank you for taking us through history, Adam. That was illuminating. All right, let's get into our ratings then. Jody?
Oh, okay. I think last week's episode was better. I'm gonna give this one a 7.5. I think.
Okay, Adam.
I'm giving this a 10. This is great. This is set it up for next week. It was 48 minutes, the shortest episode so far. It had
Voting
tons
based on
in
it
it.
being short.
Pardon? No, I thought it was filled perfectly with a ton of stuff. I'm excited about next week's episode.
I am too. I don't think this is a perfect episode, but I liked it. I'll go 8.5.
7.
7 from Kevin. He was bored. All right,
A
Heather.
little bit,
We'll catch up with next week. Jeff.
Mm-hmm.
What's your rating?
This episode?
Yeah.
I'm gonna 7. I agree. It was a good episode, but it was kind of depressing. It wasn't a great penultimate episode. Didn't really.
There was all the action. They vaporized an astronaut, Jeff.
Dave,
This
it's
last
three
week was
against
way more depressing. I don't know where you get that, Jeff.
Yep. Well, there was a murder. There was
Attempted.
a woman reeling from the death of her child. I mean,
Yeah, but last week the
on.
child died, and you gave it a 9.5.
Yeah, it was great. Yeah.
So, all right. Well, he's standing by his 7. So we're averaging an 8 out of 10 tonight. We'll get Heather's rating next week. This has an 8.8 on IMDb. It's one of the highest rated of the season. Only next week is rated higher of any episode this season. So we're in for a treat, it would seem. The next
Now,
episode.
are we still going after this, or are we taking a break after the season?
We
like
haven't
from
talked
the
about taking a
podcast
break, but
Okay.
I think we should go.
I'm fine with that. I just wanted to make sure we were doing it.
Would
That's
they stop at NASA, Jody? Would they
Yes.
take a break?
Yes, they would.
All right. Well,
We
Our
need to
next-
fix the ship.
our next episode is A City Upon a Hill, season 1, episode 10. And we'll get to the end of this mission before there will be a big time jump between season 1 and season 2. So, in 2 weeks, we'll be in that new season and all kinds of new discussions. But we're not there yet. Any questions or final comments before we sign off for tonight? It doesn't seem
No,
like
I
it.
don't think so.
No.
Okay. Well, you're hearing this here first. Normally we do our Star Trek: The Next Generation reviews on Thursdays, but this week we're all traveling to a tournament and there's a lot going on. I won't be available, so we've decided to skip this week for Star Trek: The Next Generation. We'll be doing it next Thursday.
What episode is it?
It's Manhunt.
Oh.
Deluxe on Troy, and we're bringing the women to hand for the men. We got Heather, we got Becky, we got
Thank
Jane.
God, I'm not sitting through it.
Yeah, so it's gonna be great.
I hate that
Look
episode.
out for that. I really enjoyed watching the last TNG review of Up the Long Ladder with you guys. Jaemeel hosted that one. It was a lot of fun.
It was a shit show. It was amazing.
It was fun. Okay, well, make sure to check out our other UFP channels like Trivial Debates and Super Mater Brothers and Hey, Did You See This One? I just did a Jumanji review last week with the Hey, Did You See This One guys. That was a lot of fun.
I almost jumped in on that, but I didn't know how those guys would take it.
Nah, that'd be fun. But try getting a word in with those guys. They're fast.
I noticed. Yeah, as I was watching you guys, I'm like, this is the least amount of Dave talk I've seen on a
I know.
podcast.
I can just sit back and it's still a
Every
4-hour
so often
podcast.
you'd be like, yeah, no, that was, I really liked when they did this. And then all of a sudden the two of them were at it again.
Well, I think at the beginning I wasn't talking enough because they were kind of like, when's Dave going to talk? And I'm like, okay, I'll talk. Here we go. All right. Well, that's it. Welcome to June. Happy belated birthday to Adam as well.
Thank you.
Yeah. Are you?
Hey, Dave and Pugsley and Davin and I did launched another probe on Saturday night too. And I thought you would have come because we talked about Sub Rosa.
You thought I
should've
would
showed
come?
up.
Mm-hmm.
I should have showed up. I didn't know that was happening.
Yeah, I still. So yeah, that's right. I still
could
have
have
to
crashed
actually add
that.
that to the audio feed for Live Long. So I'll check that out. Okay. Well, thanks everyone for being with us. We'll be back in 1 week's time for the finale of season 1. And until then, live long and podcast, everyone, and you have a good night. See you next time. Bye.
Beam up some Star Trek content with Live Long and Podcast. Tune in to X-Rated, the X-Men animated review show. Artistic interviews with graphic histories. A roundtable movie discussion with Hey, Did You See This One? And movie reviews with Hold Up, a movie podcast. And while you're at it, spin a few records with Eamon on Track. Watch us duke it out on Trivial Debates. And let's chat about TV with the Super Mater Brothers. It's all here on the United Federation of Podcasts.